Alright, welcome back everybody. Doing a little progress report here on the old 4-cylinder hot rod. As you can see, got the trunk lid back off. Had that all mounted up on the last video I showed you. And guess what? Came in. Looky there. Fuel cell finally came in last week. It's a Jazz 12 gallon. It's got that safety flapper. It's got the rubber flapper inside here, and it's got 3 ports. The blue one here is 10 AN for the vent, and then you just got an extra one for return if you had a return to run. I'm actually going to put the evap line in that one, and then that's your standard pickup line. So I got that, and so since I had that to mount up, or the measurements from it, I was able to make the fuel cell mount. You can see I just made a angle iron frame, put some tabs on it. I'm going to run 3/8 rod. I had the back ones in already. 3/8 rod up, and I'm going to put a unistrut mount on top to keep it secure in there. I also did get the fuel line run from underneath from my mock-up, my experiment fuel pump, and took that all apart, and I have the fuel line run up. That's what this line is here. Kind of comes up and around, and then this is the newer fuel pump that I'm running, a little bit better one. I got that wired in. Kind of just half-assed did that tonight. Kind of got the wires tucked in there. I'm not really 100% sure how I'm going to get them all tidied up, but I figure I'd get a shot of this before I got the fuel cell in there so you could see what I kind of did. I did like a fuel protection bar behind it, and the bottom one kind of goes in between the 2 frame rails on the bottom, and that's where this is at so far. And I did get all the suspension done. I put a new hub on this side. It's a Moog hub. It's a little bit better one. They were probably about $100. You see I put a little paint job on it, and I also took all the brakes apart, took the emergency brake out of it, and just put all the shoes back together with the springs and whatever. So that didn't come out too bad either. So I did that on both sides. Put the new hub on this side. The other one was changed already from the stock one, so I just left it. I also did the sockets for the Nerf bars. Got those welded on. I actually painted, and I kind of forgot about them, so then I had to clean the paint off. But they came out alright. Got them on all 4 corners with a cage. Got one up here, and the 2 on the other side are on. So the front suspension, I went through the whole thing, took the brakes off. I freed up the I can't remember what you call them, the steering component, so you can set the toe, and just went through all the brakes, make sure everything was freed up, the sliders were freed up, and I put new struts on this car when I first got it, because actually both of them were broke. The springs were broke, so I just went and got quick struts from Advanced Auto. Did that, put those in. That was like the first thing I did on this car. And I actually, what I did though is this top one here is actually a camber bolt. I twisted it in, got positive camber, and on the other side I twisted it the opposite way and got negative camber on that side, or it might be vice versa. I always get those confused. But as you can see, I have this sway bar hooked up on this side, but actually on the other side I took the rod right off because I'm not going to run the sway bar, but I left this side hooked up just in case someday you figure out maybe you want to try it again. This side's already hooked up, and you just got to put the other side back on. So that's where that's at. And I also did put the hood on. I took it back off obviously now, but I do have the pins in. I put a pin in here, and I just put a pin in the front here, and then the same on the other side. The only thing I would say was when you do your hood, and you do it with pins, I had to weld these washers on, because your hood, obviously with it being gutted and you take all the hinges off and everything, it's just going to flop down. So I had to put these washers on, and the first time I put them on, I just kind of guessed, which was a mistake, because I wound up having to grind them all off and then put the hood on and then hold the washer up from underneath to get the contour of the hood. I don't know if you can tell, but look at the angle that's on, because the hood has such a contour that it didn't sit flat and it looked horrible. So, but I got it looking good now. Sits nice. And just an update on the wires. I know I said in the last one I was going to try to tidy these up. Well, that's tidy for these wires. I know it looks bad, but it's going to be all hid by a dash. And it is all pretty secure. That airbag box, I wound up mounting it right to the back of the battery box, which I had room because the battery is actually going to be in front of these rods. It's going to be up here. So there is a couple inches of room there. So those bolts won't be in the way. The relay bar, whatever this little relay box is, I wound up bolting it right through this main bar. You can see that bar that runs like the dash bar or whatever you want to call it. And then the computer, I'll have to come back around here. I bolted it right through that same bar right there. And that's nice and tight now, so that computer doesn't move at all. It's nice and secure there. So, and I just threw a bunch of tape and a bunch of zip ties, and it's a mess, but it's kind of secure and out of the way. So that should be obviously all covered up once I get the dash on someday. I did take the little speedometer, gauges and all that. I don't know if you can see that. I wound up mounting it kind of right behind the steering wheel. There wasn't enough room for height-wise to put it in back behind there, so I kind of figured you could use it to at least keep an eye on the temperature and your tack. So I kind of got it mounted right there. I think it's kind of out of the way and shouldn't really hinder anything. So that's that part, and I'm just trying to think of anything else I did since the last video. Oh, I did do that. If I can get around here without making everybody dizzy. As you can see, I got a couple Zeus's mounted here. I did wind up getting the fresh air blower for the helmet, and I think it's an All-Star. I wound up mounting it right there to accommodate the hose to come up over top and into your top of your helmet. So I did get that on too. I just someday I'm gonna have to run a wire down around and mount a switch in the dash to operate that. So all right, I just wanted to shoot a quick video showing where I was. I'll probably tack on, when I get the fuel cell done, I'll tack on to this video with that. And I'm continuing to throw a little paint and prime it first, and then throwing a little paint on here and there just to keep up on top of the painting, which is always fun and smelly, especially in the winter when you can't open the doors. And trying to keep the heat in here. So, but we're plugging along with it, and so we will throw an update on the fuel cell when I get that all done, and maybe even have it running, hopefully. So, all right, well, stay tuned. All right, bye.